So how long should a Christian girl wait for a guy to make a move? That's what we're going to talk about in this episode. Hey everybody, I'm Mark from ApplyGodsWord.com, a place where we apply the Bible to your life. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. We're making brand new videos just like this every single week. We talk a lot about Christian singleness, Christian relationships, the calling of God on your life, and a lot of topics just like that. So again, hit that subscribe button and join this growing community on YouTube. So this question about waiting for a guy to make a move is difficult because each situation is different. And I would give different advice based upon the different factors that are in each relationship. So what I'm going to do in this video, rather than just give you a one-size-fits-all answer, I'm going to take you through a few different scenarios and then give some basic advice on waiting and hoping and things like that based upon each situation. Point one, if there's no real evidence that this guy actually likes you, then I wouldn't wait at all. Now, the way I'm using the word wait means that you're actually passing up other opportunities and being less proactive in your life based upon the hope that this person will pursue you or start liking you at some point. So I think there's a difference between waiting for someone to like you or to pursue you versus hoping that that person would like you or pursue you. So again, if there's no evidence and there's no reason to think that this person will like you or does like you right now, I wouldn't wait, as I'm defining the word wait. I don't think it's wrong for you to hope, meaning that you're not changing your lifestyle, you're not saying no to other dates or other social opportunities because you're waiting for this person, but you're leaving your heart open and you're like, yeah, it would be awesome if that person liked me. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, if there's no evidence, I wouldn't wait at all. The reason I say that is because you're saying no to a lot of things rather than yes to a lot of things. And in singleness, I believe if you want to be married and you want to get to know more people, you have to do that very thing. You have to go out and meet multiple people rather than just narrowing in on one narrow path, because you never know how God's going to actually lead you to your spouse. So that begs the question, what are valid forms of evidence that somebody likes you? And that's point two. What are some signs that a guy does actually like you and there's a reason to actually maybe wait for a little period of time just to see what happens? Well, I actually have a whole nother video on that topic called 12 Signs That Someone Likes You. And then I have, in that video, I have 3 signs that don't mean anything. So I'll link to that video below. But here's a few big hitters that might help you if you're trying to figure this out. Number one, if a guy treats you differently than he treats other girls and acts different around you, that could be a good sign that he's actually interested. If a guy's really friendly, talks to everybody, and then he does that to you, you really shouldn't think anything of it. However, if he's kind of quiet, doesn't really go out of his way to speak to people that much, but he does with you, well, that's a good sign. If a guy's trying to build a good friendship with you first, just to gauge compatibility and to be respectful of your heart rather than just jumping into dating, maybe he comes from the mindset where he should really build a friendship first. And again, he's trying to build a friendship with you, and that's not something he does with other people. That's another good sign that maybe you should wait a little bit to see what happens. The best form of evidence that a guy likes you is if he actually tells you. Now, sometimes a guy will tell you that he likes you and have this emotional friendship connection with you without actually committing. I don't endorse that. I don't think that's very wise or respectful of a guy to do. I think he should just make a move when he says he likes you or not, rather than playing this middle of the road game where he says he likes you but he doesn't do anything. But nonetheless, if you're in that situation, maybe the guy says he likes you but his heart's just not ready or he doesn't feel released by God to do that, this is where the third point will help you out a lot. Point 3, if there is good evidence that a guy actually does like you, then I would say nothing more than a few months. Now, I know that's a totally subjective piece of evidence. There's no biblical rule or Bible verse that would, prove that point. That's just my personal opinion and my personal advice to you, in that I feel like a few months is enough time for a guy to figure it out on whether or not he wants to make a move. If you're waiting much longer than that, I think it's a sign that he's either playing games with your heart and may be a Christian player, which I have a video for that I will link to below, 5 signs of a Christian player. Or maybe he's just too passive for a relationship right now. He wants the connection, but he doesn't want the commitment. Or it could mean that he just doesn't really like you that much. If he's waiting months and months and months and months and hasn't made a move, I think to guard your heart and to not waste your life and waste your time waiting for something that might never happen and that there's no evidence for, I would move on. Now, to balance out this point 4, if there are no other options and you just don't really feel like there's anyone else that you're interested in, well then I think you have a little bit more freedom to wait a little bit longer. When the time starts going past a few months, I would move into the more hoping mindset and motive rather than the waiting where you're like actively passing things up. But if there's no other options, then I think you have a little bit more freedom to leave your heart open for the possibility. Now, point 5 is if it's hurting your heart, it's messing with your head, you're getting anxious, you can't stop thinking about it, it might even be hurting your relationship with God because you're like, why isn't this happening? What am I supposed to do? You're spending all your time praying about it and not other things. Well, then I would say it's time to move on. If this hoping is turning into anxiousness and an idol and things like that, I would not leave your heart open to it, and I would try to focus on moving on so that you don't miss out on what God might have for you, or you don't get stuck too much in this season of ambiguity and waiting. The reality is some people just have a better ability to like be open to something without taking it too far, and other people just really struggle with that. And when there's this unknown, it just overtakes their mind and it completely controls their life. So you really have to be honest with yourself and just be honest with how good you are at that. Can you just leave your heart open and hope for something without it totally consuming you? Well, that's fine. You know, you have a little bit more freedom just to let that play out over a longer period of time. But if you're the type of person who's just kind of extreme in your mind and your heart and it's just, again, overtaking you, I think you should really focus on moving on because you don't want to damage your walk with God. So in closing, let me just throw out a balanced argument for the other side and ask you the question, why are you waiting at all? And what I mean by that is sometimes it's okay for a girl to initiate something with the guy so that she knows what's going on. Like, I think in the church there's been an overemphasis in Christian dating on guys doing all the pursuing, all the initiating, and I wouldn't say that I think a girl should pursue a guy. I think that's going too far, but I don't think it's fair to say that a girl should just do nothing but wait and sit around and basically be super passive in her own life, and is just waiting for other people to control her relationship destiny. I don't think that that's biblical or necessary. She's not like overstepping her role. Like once you get into marriage, your husband's supposed to lead you, but you don't want to over apply that marriage principle to dating and think that a girl can't initiate. So my number 1 tip to girls who are in this season is just invite a guy to do something. I love the word invite. I think that's a perfect piece of advice for Christian girls. If you're wondering what you should do, how do I know if this person likes me, I don't know what's going on, you can get a read on the guy's interest in you by inviting him to do something with you. You don't have to ask him out, you don't have to pursue him, just literally invite him. Hey, do you want to go on a hike? Hey, do you want to go to the movies? Hey, we're going out with a bunch of friends. Would you like to join us? My family's having a cookout. Would you like to come and spend time with us? Just something simple like that. And based upon his response, you will get a decent gauge on where he might be. If he's, no, thank you, I have plans. Well, that's a polite way of saying probably not interested. Or if he's like, yeah, I'll come. Well, it doesn't mean he loves you or he's going to ask you out, but it means he's at least open to getting to know you more. So again, do something is sometimes the best advice. Rather than just waiting and being really passive, you can do certain things to get a gauge on the situation. I have a whole nother set of videos on that topic, so I'll leave some links for those as well in the description below. Lastly, if you haven't got a chance to read my newest book called The One, I just wanted to let you know real quick that I have it on sale right now for $2.99 in the ebook version on Amazon. It's also in paperback, as you can see here. So I'll leave some links in the description of this video if you want to learn about how God will reveal who He wants you to marry. Well, I'm Mark from ApplyGodsWord.com. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and God bless.